Hi, I'm Ozzy from Three Monkeys Amps and Three Monkeys Solderless, and welcome to my personal channel, where on the weekends I like to spend a little time goofing around with guitar-related stuff. And if you like goofing around with that kind of stuff or watching people goof around with it, well, you might find some of this stuff entertaining. So last weekend we were doing some slaving of amplifiers, right? We were slaving a small box into a 100-watt super lead to try to, and running it through the aux box to kind of show you what slaving was all about. And I had promised that if we had time we would go over the 78 to 84 pedal board that I had built in another series on the weekends. And we ran out of time, or I ran out of time. And so today I figured what we would do is we would introduce the pedal board into the chain. And the pedal board, in case you're wondering, is this guy right here. And if you want to know exactly sort of what's in it and how it was constructed, there's a series that goes through exactly how it was put together using the Three Monkeys line of solderless products, both AC and the signal obviously is AC, and then the DC solderless systems as well. So anyway, what I figured I'd do is we would run this into the front of the amplifier, into the front of the 50, slaved into the 100, and then off into the aux box. And the second thing we're going to try to do is we're going to simulate sort of like a prehistoric rack system, where we're going to run the 50 watt through the load box into the pedal board, and then on into the 100 watt, and then off into the aux box, and see what that sounds like. I think that could be interesting. So I'll see you up in the submarine studio, and we'll try it out. All right, so we're up here in the submarine studio, and we've got the pedal board set up on the floor. I've got the two Marshalls set up. It's in the slave configuration, so we have the 50 through the load box driving the 100 watt. The 100 watt is on the Variac down to 90 volts, and the pedal board is straight into the 50. The output of the amps is, as usual, going through the aux box over here, and then into the mixing board that's mixing in the mic signal here, and then into the camera. So we're getting, you know, basically a fairly, well, that's really not that simple, but, you know, it's not an ultra complicated setup. So what I thought I'd do is just give like a rudimentary sort of run through of all the different pedals and how they kind of sound with the amp. Not take a whole lot of time with it today. I'm actually going to be redoing some of the pedal board. There's another pedal that I'm looking forward to getting, which is the Solo Dallas pedal. You know, the one that simulates the Schaefer wireless, compressor expander, the Compander, or is, you know, a replica of that. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm probably going to take off the chorus pedal and put that on the other board to go post instead of in front of the amplifiers. But anyway, let's get into it. So we've got our bass tone. And like I said, I'm an amp builder, not a guitar player, so I'm probably going to hit you with some clams, so my apologies straight up front. All right, so the first thing that we've got here is this EQ pedal, so let's see what that sounds like when we kick it in. This is a Boss GE10. It's the big ass box that you know, is one of the secret weapons. So I'll kick it in. So you can see you could get some good gain with that. And you know, let's I'll hold down an A chord and just kind of bring up the slider, the gain slider, so you can see how much extra you can kind of slam the front ends of the Marshall with, you know, the old GE10. So see that's got some, you know, a pretty good kind of boost for the front end of the amp. So we'll turn that off real quick. And then the second EQ I have on the board is is an old Boss, or excuse me, an old MXR 6-band, the Blue Jammy. And that's in this loop over here. And that has a different kind of flavor to it, which is also, you know, it's tempting. So that's our bass. I'm going to bring in the EQ. Yeah, so that's a little bit noisier than the Boss EQ, but there's something about it sounds pretty cool. The next, let's say, selection down on our selector side box here would be this chain of pedals, which is listed as the red box, which is controlled by these red sort of foot switches down here. So to activate it, hit that on. And now we have in that chain an MXR flanger, an MXR Phase 90, a Boss Octave, and then a homebrew, I guess it's called like an EP boost. It's the Echoplex boost. So this can kind of give you, you know, if we turn on our EQ up front to give the front end a little bit of a boost, you get a good kind of... So it allows you to kind of get in and out really quick, because these are momentaries. So if you wanted to play, you know, the whole... Instead of stepping on your flanger twice, you could just kind of step on it once. You can hear it come in and out. So... So that gives you a kind of, you know, for me, it's a little bit easier to get in and out. And the flanger, you know, it's an old MXR, so they do sound a little bit different than the newer MXRs for sure. So we've got let's see, what is that? Yeah, they've done the Phase 90, we've done the flanger, we've done the 6-band EQ, we've done the Boss EQ. Oh, the Octave is in this too. So the Octave is in there. I think that was like used, I think I talked about this maybe in another video, I'm not sure. But I was always wondering what was on Fair Warning, whether it was like an Eventide harmonizer like in the rack over there, or whether it was something else. And a friend of mine keyed me in that the Boss was really the pedal that he used, the brown OC2. And so I bought one and tried it out. And I think, you know, it kind of has that sort of like, you know, the Unchained sort of... Oh, wait, I got to turn it on. That might be a good idea. Yeah. So that's what I was told he was using around that time to kind of thicken up the solos. I think it sounds pretty cool, and it's also, you know, really kind of, you know, interesting to play with, you know. All right, so that's our Octave unit. So we can turn off the red box. I think that's a good demonstration of what the red box sort of channel does. Then we have a secondary flanger in there as well, which is it's a newer one. It's probably from the 80s, which this one's probably from the 70s. And it's a little bit more subtle, so I like it more so than this one for, you know, things like... sounds really good for that kind of thing. And then I have 2 Echoplexes as well on the board, which I like to have 2 of them, one set differently than the other. So this one, when it's on a default setting, is just for like a little slap back, you know. And then if I want, I can put on, you know, the second Echoplex as well, and that's more for you know. You know, that whole dealio. I think that might be a little, might have stepped on that. It sounded a little fast to me, the repeat. Anyway, so that's what that's for. But all in all, I think this, you know, the pedal board with the way it's wired up and with the cable that we've got going on, it, you know, you get a really kind of, you know, it's a good clean sound. There's not a lot of, you know, noise brought into it or degradation of the signal. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good demonstration of what the pedal board sounds like, and I think we'll continue on, you know, always futzing with this stuff and trying to improve it. So next time you see it, I'm gonna put in that the solo Dallas pedal. So I'm really looking forward to getting that. So until next time, I'll see you later, and you know, thanks very much for watching.